Hi, Legal Amigo here. I'm a Stanford attorney, a friendly Stanford attorney, helping people understand and navigate the legal system. I'm also a legal tech startup founder, and I started a startup called FairClaims. We resolve disputes online, and we've been doing that for about 10 years. And so this video is about how to resolve a dispute, and really it's about principles of dispute resolution, because every dispute is different. All the details are different. The facts and circumstances are different. What each party wants might be different. But we've learned some principles that hopefully can help you in any kind of dispute you have, maybe even in interpersonal disputes, an issue, a conflict you're having with a friend or family member, but certainly in legal disputes and business partner disputes, which is a very common form of dispute. I hope these principles can help you as you think through resolving the dispute. So, first of all, why would you ever want to resolve a dispute? Why not just leave it out there hanging? Well, there's lots of reasons you want to resolve a dispute. There might be stress if you leave a dispute unresolved because it's on your mind, you're losing sleep. It might impact your relationships in some way, your personal or family or business relationships in some negative way. There might be threats that the other person is making that the other person may follow through on if you don't resolve the dispute, right? There's risk, there's liability. There's all sorts of reasons why you may want to resolve a dispute. And I think that's why you're here, because you have some interest in resolving some dispute you're having. So here's a good roadmap for thinking about how to get people working towards dispute resolution. The first and most important thing is to make people feel heard. So somebody's upset, somebody's angry, somebody's hurt about something that happened. The most important step in resolving a dispute is to make that person feel heard. Now, maybe they feel heard by an attorney who then takes the dispute and litigates and sues you or sues somebody involved in the dispute. And maybe that helps them in their process. If you directly can make them feel heard, that's great too. You can do that through attorneys. Your attorney talks to their attorney and they feel a little more heard because they were able to make a statement that got to you, or vice versa. You could do it through mediation. There are these third-party mediators who are professionals at basically making people feel heard, but trying to gear people towards a settlement. So they'll kind of listen to both sides. Both sides will present their case either through an attorney or not. And then they'll try to negotiate some settlement based on that. But the first step really is, and it's very psychological, it's very emotional, but it's also very practical, is to make people feel heard. But along with that, also to listen to what they're saying. Because number one, you make people feel heard when you listen. But number two is you pick up on what might resolve the dispute. You pick on exactly what is bothering them. So you might not know exactly what their gripe is, right? So let's say you run a business and there was some sort of incident at the business. Let's say that they feel they were mistreated by one of your employees. And so let's say this dispute is they're going to go rant about you on Yelp. Okay, this is just a small business dispute that happens every day. They feel they were given bad customer service by your employee and they're going to go rant about you on Yelp. And they come to you first. It's really important to make them feel heard, to dissipate the negative emotions they have, to feel like somebody cares about the infraction, but also you're listening for what is it that bothered them. So maybe they came in to get a book. You're a bookseller. You have a bookstore, and they came in to buy a book. And maybe you think that they were bothered because they couldn't find the right book. They couldn't find that you didn't have the book. It was not in stock. Maybe you think that's the problem. But as you listen to them, they're saying more that your employee made them feel unnoticed, like they weren't there, took too long to help them. And then maybe you can fix it by saying, hey, from now on, we're going to make sure that we tell our employees to always let somebody know when they're new in the store that, hey, I'll be with you in 3 minutes or whatever it is. And you made them feel heard and you solve their problem by being proactive about what you're going to do and you're going to pay more attention. And really, they just feel, seen, right? People want to be seen and heard more than I think just about anything, especially these days when the number one problem in the world is a loneliness epidemic. So anyway, make people feel heard, whether it's through your attorney, through a mediator, or directly, whatever kind of issue it is, whatever kind of dispute, whether it's legal or not legal, whether there's a lawsuit filed or not, make them feel heard. Listen closely so that you make them feel heard, but also so that you can find what they're actually bothered about, what the actual issue is, and that'll put you on a path towards resolving that issue. Okay, so that's a really big thing, making people feel heard. Another thing in dispute resolution is getting all the options out on the table and being creative about, getting as many possible resolutions out there as possible. So with the person who came into your bookstore, one resolution is we're going to train our employees to pay more attention to that going forward. Another resolution, and maybe that's not good enough for them. Maybe that gets them half the way there, but that's not good enough. Another resolution might be we're going to give you 20% off your next purchase. Something like that, to not only make them feel seen and heard, but to make them feel like they got some sort of justice, some sort of fairness for what they perceive as something damaging, something hurtful, something they didn't like. So it's all about getting a bunch of options out on the table once you've heard them, once you figure out what the issue is, so you can then think about and brainstorm all the different ways that you might be able to resolve it. And the more you make them part of the process, the better. The more skin they got in the game, the better. What people really want is self-empowerment, and they want to be heard, and then they want to solve this problem on their own and feel good about it. That's the best way to help people. It's like how IKEA furniture is worth more to people because they put it together themselves. If people get involved in a process, they have skin in the game, they're invested, then that could help you towards resolution and then make them feel better about the resolution they get and then just make them feel more empowered in general. So definitely just brainstorm all the options that there might be available. Certainly if you get sued, then maybe somebody's suing you for a dollar amount. And they might say, I want $100,000 from you to drop this lawsuit. Well, maybe you say, hey, I can give you, $50,000 if I pay it out over 2 years. And maybe they're okay with that or they'll consider it. But maybe you say, I'm also going to give you a written apology. Maybe you draft it with your lawyer. So there's, you have a settlement agreement that says you don't have liability going forward and you're free to apologize. And you all agree that that makes sense, and you resolve it within the settlement agreement that that's not going to be used against you, right? But maybe an apology goes a long way, or maybe it's like, hey, you can get a discount on future goods or services, or, we're going to take this action we're going to fire this. That's strong, but maybe it's like we're going to retrain this employee, another thing you might be able to do. So anyway, it's lay out all the options on the table to try to get to resolution. And then I would say the third main principle in resolving disputes. So the first one is make people feel heard. The second is get all the options out on the table. And the third is to, when necessary, get a third party involved. So with FairClaims, with my startup, that's one of the big value propositions is that we're this third party platform that makes people feel heard, right? That resolves disputes, but that's trusted because we don't have an interest with one side or the other. We're neutral. So maybe you get some neutral party involved, like with a family dispute, you get that family member who's always mediating, right? You get that person involved to help with the two of you who are having an issue. With the business dispute, if it's with your business partner, maybe you get an investor involved to help you mediate. But someone is a little more neutral who can see both sides, make both sides feel heard, brainstorm options with you all together, but is a little more neutral and has a different kind of credibility because they don't have an interest in the outcome, or at least not as much of a direct interest in the outcome. And the more neutral and removed they are, the better, right? It helps in international diplomacy to have a neutral third party. So that's another principle, is if you get somebody neutral who doesn't have an economic interest, doesn't have a direct interest in the resolution, to help you mediate, which means to help you both agree to a settlement, or to arbitrate, which means that they'll decide for you, right? You can get any third party to decide a dispute for you. They don't even have to be a lawyer. You just get them to contractually agree, both the parties contractually agree that that third party is going to resolve the dispute. that's what we do, with FairClaims. So anyway, there are other facets of dispute resolution. Put a comment if you want me to talk more about dispute resolution in future videos, or if you have any questions or ideas or thoughts. But those are at least 3 principles. Make the other side feel heard, talk about a lot of different options, and if and when possible or necessary, get a neutral third party involved to help you along. Hope that was helpful. Thanks for joining me today. Subscribe to get more videos in the future if you'd like to hear about more legal topics, more DIY hacks, more legal principles. Basically, I'm just trying to help people help themselves with the law, help you understand and navigate the law a little bit better, because it can be really intimidating, really difficult, really challenging. And I just would love to see more people thriving and doing better because they have more of a grasp on the legal system. Thanks, and talk to y'all soon.